Good day, traders. This is Rich with some price action on March 24th, 2020. And today we are looking at several different stocks because we're seeing a huge move in the markets. Currently, right now, the Dow is up 1,500, the S&P is up 161, and the Nasdaq is up 425. So we've seen some crazy gapping this morning. The futures were limit up. We have news expected to come out about the stimulus plan for the economy. At the same time, cases are growing for the COVID-19 across the country and the world. Stories are coming out. The Olympics are postponed. India's going into lockdown. New York is growing or losing people every day and not enough beds. So the virus is not going anywhere. But this is a big moving day, positive day, needed to happen. Now, it doesn't say it's not going to happen the opposite tomorrow. We might consider a call option on the SPXS. Looking for the markets to drop off from where we end up today. But we're going to watch what's happening currently until we make that decision later this afternoon. But I'm going to focus on what I like to call the Imperial Gaps. Imperial Gaps are on a day like today or any high volume day that has a lot of gapping trades that have been beat up pretty good. Now, obviously, in a normal market, you're not going to find thousands of these, but because the markets are so beat up, you're going to find quite a bit. So in this case, we will look at several different stocks that have very similar setups and might have triggered at different times throughout the morning, but very, very easy to trade. High volume stocks are the best ones to do because you're going to get the flush move. Low volume stocks might give you that quick high dollar amount move, but sometimes you just want a steady hand. And of course, when you think of a steady stock, you think of Apple. Apple gapped up about 13 points this morning. And what was happening is the same thing with the SPY. It was kind of consolidating in this range here. These first 3 5-minute candles consolidated, and then we saw movement. We set a buy limit, stop limit here, got in at 37 and shot it up to about 42, actually 42.22, I believe, and then it went up to like 43. It has pulled back since, and it's now consolidating again. What we're going to look for here today, later this afternoon, is if a stimulus plan is in good possibility. I think that's going to be the catalyst to really push us higher, maybe to 45 or even to 50 today. So even though you think we've seen big moves already, there's so many more moves to be had. I don't think we're going to force it. I think this wick here is a little bit tough to get over. So we might take a trade at the 42.65 area to let it launch up and see if we make that move. Now that would mean that the Dow would probably get to 2,000 at that point. Because to make that kind of run up to 45 would require a lot of north side movement. But we're seeing the green happen. So this is what we call the Imperial Gap. Big gap move, consolidation, and a breakout to new highs. Pretty simple stuff. Let's look at some other guys. Whirlpool, a little bit different here. This did not necessarily create an early Imperial Gap. Definitely gapped high, but continued. The market's kind of consolidated here on this candle, but Whirlpool was so beat up, 110 to 70 here, that it definitely pulled back here, and then you could have taken a trade on the high of this candle from 784 even up to 82.30. You would have to watch the markets and make a good decision there, but that's considered what I consider an Imperial Gap for that. Another one, let's see if Exxon was one. Exxon was one too. You had a nice gap, pull back here, consolidation, and then a climb to the highs of the day. 34.42 all the way up to 35.16. Another consolidation, and it's looking to break out again to form another breakout. But this particular Imperial Gap was because it pulled back and then shot through pretty high. Now, the biggest ones were the ones that were decimated. We're going to look at, what are we looking at here? The cruise lines. Okay, the cruise lines have been just hammered. Just hammered. You can see we were up here in February, just decimated. So here's a nice move, sort of like we saw on Apple, the consolidation early, and the breakout of this candle, 1207 or so, and then boom, all the way up to 1576. That is what we call a winner. I mean, Imperial Gap like no other. We had a gap from 967. A lot of people are like, oh, I missed it. Well, guess what? You didn't miss it. There was a big move to the north side right there that you could have traded. And if you're watching that particular stock, sometimes the beat up stocks are the best ones to watch. Another case is MGM. MGM has been getting pummeled as well, and they consolidated as well, sort of like Apple. And then once they broke out of this candle, you could see it went from 1146 all the way up to 1287. So that's a big percentage move right there. Another one that happened later on, we were watching it, but we didn't make it moves on it, was Abbott Labs. Abbott Labs is in the fight for the COVID-19 situation, and they've been, for some reason, they've been getting beat hard. We're talking, beat up pretty good. So we gapped up. You're kind of looking for the high of this candle here to break. It did happen earlier. This is one of those trades where you got in and like, oh no, it didn't work out. Should I get out? You have to be careful. You break out here at 66.75. It does go against you about a point. So that's why you got to set your stop at a certain level. You got to keep an eye on your win-loss ratio here. But then we eventually did break out right about here at 66.83, and it's moved all the way up to 67.95. So, point there, and just trades happening throughout the morning that you can be watching. You just have to be careful, of course. Anything can happen, anything can turn around. We're now at 1620 on the Dow, and markets are still steadily moving up. So obviously momentum is to the north side today, and that's what we were looking at. But by the end of the day, we might be looking for some short plays or put options on certain stocks or indices, ETFs, whatsoever. And so that pretty much sums up today's trading look. There was definitely possibilities out there. We hope you caught some. There's going to be more tomorrow. Don't worry if you missed out. Let's hopefully we get some momentum to the north side, create some trades, and create some positive news out there. I think everyone wants that. I think it's going to be a mix of bad and good for the next couple of weeks, and then hopefully we can get through it and get back to some normalcy. And I'll just close it up. This is Rich, and this was some price action occurring today, March 24th. So have a good one, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.